Yeah. Okay. Good morning. This beautiful, chilly day this morning. It's all good. So, we all know what yoga means. It means binding together of mind, body, and soul. And part of that means that we always have different things to strive for. In other words, um, we're never perfect. And that's good, right? We always have things that we can strive for. Um, and it also means that yoga has no end. So, yoga, the act of binding together mind, body, and soul, has no end. And I like to think about that in the poses as well, how there's always a step beyond in the different pose to get to the final pose. The final perfect pose is usually not quite attainable. Um, and some days, hey, maybe you do get into a bigger pose, and then the next day, maybe not so much. It's always different. And that's the way it is. That's how you learn about yourself. So, yoga is never perfect. We're never perfect, which is good. Would you want to be friends with somebody that was perfect? Probably not. We all have things that we can work on. Life is a learning process, if you will. So let's just turn inward for a moment. Close your eyes and find your breath. When you realize that there's no end and that there's always room for continuous improvement and progress, you'll always approach the impossible with hope. And maybe one day when you least expect it, what you were tirelessly looking for will meet you right where you are. That's why I feel like there's so much hope in yoga, and the possibilities are truly endless. Stephen Hawking said, "One of the basic rules of the universe is that nothing is perfect. Perfection simply doesn't exist. Without imperfection, neither you nor I would exist." Please bring hands to heart center. With that in mind, you can truly notice and appreciate the grace and the beauty that's all around us in its imperfect way. Please lower your hands, open your eyes. Gonna start seated, stretch your arms up, and then taking your left hand, just pretend like you're rolling down your sleeve and bring the hand to the back and other hand to your elbow, just stretching out that. And then very slightly lean to your right. Feel a big stretch in that arm. And then coming back up, stretch the arms up and do the opposite. Slide it down Find the elbow and arc slightly to your left. If it doesn't feel good to arc, it's okay. You don't have to do it. Stretching back up, bring your arms to a T, and we'll just kind of reach over with your right hand towards your left, roll up your sleeve again, and bring it back across, and do that the other way, just feeling a little bit of a twist, trying to keep both sits bones down. Gotta keep you warm today. Good. And when you come back to the center now, just kind of roll one arm one way and the other arm the other way. Just kind of rotating them in the sockets. One more time. And then stretching the arms back up, just to engage a little twist to your right. It's so cold this morning. We got to take our time, warm everything up. Good. Stretch up and twist to the other side. And then come on to all fours. Spreading your hands, seeing how your fingers feel this morning. Just move through some cow and cat. Go slow and mindful. One more round. And then pause with a flat back. Swivel your left foot to the side and then lift the knee up and ground that left foot down and try and keep the hips kind of level and then push back. Like a hip opener child's pose, if you will. And then come on up, put that knee back down, swivel the foot back in and switch. So right foot out, lift the knee, ground the foot down. Take your moment to get the hips square to the floor and sit back. Just open that hip. And then come on up, lower the knee, swivel the foot back in. And this time take a regular child's pose. Check in with your ankles and your knees, your hips, even here. And then from here, stretch your arms out, flatten them down, and come up and slide into cow pose. And then round to cat, curl your toes under and lift your knees an inch or two. And then push your hips back and up to a downward facing dog. And then come forward to a plank pose. Lower the knees and sit back to child's pose. We're going to do that a couple more times. So inhale to cow. Just go slow. Exhale, round to cat and curl the toes. Hover the knees for a moment. And then push all the way back to downward facing dog. Plank pose. Lower your knees and stretch back to child's pose. Last time, inhale, up to cow. Round, hover the knees. Push back, downward facing dog. Plank pose. Lower the knees. Child's pose. And just slide forward onto your belly. Stretch your arms long. Be mindful. It's alongside body, head of the arm bones back. Lift the arms. Lift the head, lift the shoulders, lift the feet possibly. Shalabhasana. Think rib cage back. Really warm up the back muscles. Keep a long back of neck. One more breath. And release down. Push back up and back to a downward facing dog. And this time, just stay for a moment. Explore in your dog. Walking it out, swiveling your heels, whatever feels good. And then go ahead and come down to your knees. Your hands should be slightly in front of your shoulders. And swivel your left foot out again. Extend your right leg for that vasisthasana variation. Bring the right hand to the hip. And then just open up. Maybe even open your heart a little bit more. And please come down. Swivel the foot back in and we'll switch. So right foot out, left foot long in the same plane as your knee. And open up. Vasisthasana. Go ahead and come on back down. And with your hands in that position, just slightly in front of the shoulders, we're going to do cow. And this time you're going to lift your feet up, point your toes in cow. And then as you lower and come into cat, you're going to round and lift your knees and hold. And bring the knees down. Lift the feet as you slide into cow. Curl the toes under. Round and lift to cat. Stay for a couple more breaths here. Thinking belly button towards spine. Good. Knees down. Come back into that cow position. And stay for a couple breaths. Last time, curling the toes, rounding to cat, and then lifting the knees. If that feels good, you don't have to lift the knees if that's not working for you today. Good, and come on down. And why? Come on up to downward doggy. Widen your feet a little bit. I'm going to have you slowly walk your hands back. And as you do, bend your knees, come back down into a deep squat. See how that's feeling this morning? Keep your right hand on the ground. Bring your left hand to your knee. Just add a little twist here. Oh, and then switch it up. Left hand down, right hand to the knee. Add a little twist. And come on back. Slowly walk your hands back out as you come back into downward facing dog. Wiggle your feet to hip distance. Come into plank pose. Lower to the mat. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, come back down. And push back to all fours. I'm going to have you grab your blocks. Bring them under your hands. And push back to downward facing dog again. You can do whatever feels good. Your hands. And then please extend the right leg. Just with your hips square, just see how that feels this morning. And then take your time. Notice your shoulders. You're going to bend the right knee and open up to wild dog. Just kind of be mindful. Just looking for a little stretch in the quads and your shoulders. Good. Square the hips up and step that foot to the outside of the right block. So right foot to the outside of the right block. You can turn your toes out a little bit if that feels good. Lift and lower your heel a few times. And then maybe sweep the right arm up and open up to a little twist here. Humble twist. Good. Come back down with the right hand, lower the left knee. And just see, maybe you want to lower to your elbows in humble pose. Just be mindful what works best for you. One more breath. And then placing your hands back on the blocks or the floor, if that's what you're doing. Lift the back knee and step back. Down dog. Take a moment here. And we're going to extend the left leg. Just kind of exploring how the back of your right leg feels, how your core feels. Shoulders stay stable. Bend the left knee. Open up to wild dog. So stacking left hip on top of right. Good. Square up the hips and step the foot to the outside of the left block. And lift and lower the heel a few times, just loosening everything up. And then sweep the left arm up to open up to a twist. And touch down. Lower the back knee. Maybe lower to the elbows. Take a few moments. Just noticing as you breathe how things kind of loosen up. And then making your way back up to downward facing dog. Lift the back knee, step back. And then this time, slowly step your feet up between the blocks to a forward fold. And just take your time here, exploring and forward fold. I'm holding my elbows and then I'm just kind of twisting side to side a little bit. Feels so good. And stretch out the glutes and the hamstrings. And then slowly call one vertebra at a time, roll up to standing. And step back away from your blocks for a little balancing. So find Tadasana, just really engage with the floor through your feet. Good. And then shift your weight to your right foot as you lift the left heel and then lift the knee. Good. Slowly bring the foot down right where you want it. And then switch the weight to that foot and go to the other side. And again, bring that foot slowly down right where you want it. And switch again. And this time, as you bring the heel up, turn the leg and the knee and the foot out and come into tree pose, wherever that is for you today, either ankle, calf, or above the knee. Ooh. And then slowly unwind, bring the knee forward, and then place it down right where you want it. And switch to the other foot. Lift the heel, turn the leg out, and then go for wherever you want to go today. Remember, every day is different. Release. Bring the foot down right where you want it. And relax for a moment. Step forward between your blocks again. If you don't want to use blocks, you don't have to. It's just an option for arm extenders. So inhale, stretch up. Exhale, come to chair pose, hands to heart center. And just go to a spot that feels like you're challenging yourself, but yet it's not too deep. You can hold it, draw your low belly up, and then re-extend your arms. Good, hands back to heart center. Hands to the knees and slide your hands down as you come to a forward fold. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. Step your left foot back to deep lunge. Regular deep lunge. Sweep your right arm up and open up to that twist. Keep the right hip crease back. Good, touch down. Lower the back knee and slide the blocks. You can walk the blocks back if you need to, or slide your hips back. Keep the heel, the knee, the sits bone aligned to straighten your right leg. Get a good stretch there. Drawing the leg into the hip socket, maybe trying to get the toes close to the floor eventually. Good, and then bend back into the front knee. Take your time coming up to an Anjaneyasana. What can you learn from this pose today? Grab your left wrist with your right hand and arc to your right just a little bit if you feel stable. Good, come on back up. Touch down. Lift the back knee and a big step forward. And please step your right foot back, deep lunge. Just kind of notice your alignment. When you feel super stable and set, sweep your right or left arm up and open up to that twist. Good, and touch down. Lower the back knee. Slide the hips back for the runner's lunge stretch. Then bending back into the front knee. Take your time coming up. Anjaneyasana. Hugging the right knee forward, the left heel back. Grab your right wrist with your left hand, lengthen up and arc. You're arcing to your left towards that forward knee side, which is your left side. Good, come on back up. Touch down, lift the back knee, and please step forward. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. And inhale, sweep all the way up. And exhale, bring the hands down. I'm going to take off a layer. So if you want to, you can. Finally got warm this morning. It is cold out. It's cold in here today. Heading up again for next sun salute. Stretch your arms up and exhale, fold. Pranam and fold. Step your left foot back to deep lunge. Ground that back foot down and either bring the right elbow to the knee or the right hand stays on the block and open up for Parshva Konasana. Keeping Long side body, even on that right side. Maybe stretch the arm by the ear. Oh, breathing. And reach down, touch the block. This time, turn the back heel up and step back, downward facing. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Extend the left leg and step it through to deep lunge. Being mindful, ground the back foot down. You can either do elbow to the knee or keep the hand on the block or the floor if you're really feeling it. Right hand to the hip, open up and stretch. Open to Parsvakonasana. Notice that back foot really being grounded and the front foot. Maybe stretch the arm by the ear. I always use my arm and my leg in unison to just kind of keep the muscle energy going and both to be able to open up even a bit more. Good, and then touch down. Lift the back heel, step back, downward facing dog. Extend the right leg and step it through to deep lunge. And then please step forward, forward fold. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good. Inhale, stretch it up. Exhale, fold. Pranam and fold. Step your left foot back to deep lunge. And ground that back foot down. And then think about bring it, well, just take that left block and move it forward a bit. Bring your left hand to your hip. Make sure your right hand is in front of the shoulder and firmly planted on that block. And then straighten the right leg. Open up like a triangle pose. But I'm going to have you walk that right foot over to the left and slide it in. Press down on the little toe side. It's like a funky triangle pose. Extend the arm. That's it. Maybe even try and lift that foot up. Woohoo! Good. And then you have to bring your hand to your hip, walk the foot back, slide the block back, turn the back heel up, and step back, downward facing dog. Extend the left leg and step it through deep lunge. Just move that right block forward, ground the back foot down, bring right hand to the hip, straighten the left leg. You're in triangle pose, but I want you to do that funky one. So walk that foot over to the side. Think really strong core. If you want to, you can try and lift that foot up, extend the arm. Good, bring it back down, walk it back in. Bring the block back, step back, downward facing dog. And go ahead and lower your knees and take a child's pose. And then make your way Back to the downward facing dog. And extend your right leg and step it through deep lunge. And big step forward, forward fold. And just bring your blocks up and out of the way. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, fold. Pranam and fold. Step your left foot back to deep lunge. And I want you to slide your right foot back a little ways. So like to the middle of your mat, if that works. And then ground your left foot down and turn both toes to the right. Come into a variation of vasisthasana. Make sure your hand's in the right place. You can press into the ball that right foot. And then come on back down. Swivel both feet back forward and step back, downward facing dog. Let's do that on the other side. So just step the left foot about halfway up, ground the right foot down, just turn the left foot out, left hand to your hip. That's it. Yeah. Vasisthasana variation. And come on down and step back, downward facing dog. And then go ahead and lower your knees, keeping the toes curled under. Sit back on your heels for a moment. Stretch your arms up, bend the elbows, open the heart, and then close the forearms. One more time. Open with the heart. Exhale, round and close, and then come forward. Okay, downward facing dog. So mindfully place your hands. If you want to do that last variation again to have that foot helping you in vasisthasana, do that, or side plank. Otherwise, swivel both your heels to the right and see if you can get stable enough to bring the left hand to the hip. Think really strong and extend the left arm. Beautiful. See how long you can get. So through the feet, all the way through the top of the head. Feel like you're a plank. Good, and come on down. Downward facing dog. And just slide into the other side. So swivel both heels to the left. Get stable enough. You can bring the right hand to the hip. Open up. Stretch the arm up. See how long you can get from feet through the top of the head. Good, and come on down, downward facing dog. And lower your knees and take child's pose. And then swivel your feet to one side. Come on down to your back. You might have to adjust with your knees bent. Your feet flat, arms in cactus for a moment. Bring your feet wide, just a couple windshield wipers. So knees to the right and up and over to the left. And just keep going like that. Just see what you feel, what you need. Excuse me. When you're evened out, bring your knees up again and just bring the feet right underneath the knees. Bring your right ankle across the left thigh. And that might be enough stretch for you, or if you want more, lift the left foot up. You can reach and between the legs, interlace behind the thigh or in front of the shin, and lay your head and shoulders back down. Keep a nice long spine. You don't want your low back to press down too hard. You want to keep lengthening it. Good. And then release the foot again to the floor and just slide the right knee down on top of the left knee. So it's the same configuration, only the knee's on top. And then lift the feet up again and widen them so the right foot goes to the left foot goes to the right. And lift your head and shoulders up again. Just bring the hands right on top of the shins and press the shins up into your hands as you press down, and then lay your head and shoulders back down. This is longhorn pose. Good hip stretcher. And release and unwind. Bring both feet down again. Adjust if you need to, and then bring the left ankle over right thigh. And ask yourself, do I want more? If I do, I can interlace behind the thigh or in front of the shin, whichever feels okay for me to keep a nice length in my spine. Get a good stretch in that hip. Good. And then release the foot to the floor. Bring the knee across. So knee on top of knee. Lift the feet, widen them apart. Grab the shins. Press. And lengthen. Good. And then unwind. Hug your knees in. Just gonna roll side to side. And then grabbing your kneecaps, bring the knees wider. Push them away from you. In that wide position, you'll feel a curve come back in your low back. And then bring them together and hug them towards your chest again. And just do that again. You'll feel the low back touch down again. Widen the knees. As you push the knees away, you'll feel your pelvis just tilt, and yet that curve comes back in. Bring the knees together and then hug them in. Do it one more time, but let's go the opposite direction. So push them away. Feel the tilt. Bring the knees wide. Pull them towards your armpits and back in together. Give yourself a little hug now. Just wrap your arms around your knees. And then release the feet back to the floor right under knees, hands by your hips. And lift your hips up to Setu Bandha. Shoulders underneath. Lengthen. If you want to, you can interlace your hands underneath. That's doable. And then little pulses here. So just kind of lower a couple inches and push back up. Just go at the speed that you want. Good. And then release everything down to the floor. Hug your knees in again. And then hands by your hips, stretch the legs up towards the ceiling. And alternate foot, just kind of flex and point. Crack, crack. Connie and I are both cracking. And then keeping the left foot up, lower the right leg. Just let it hover. Slowly switch. And one more time, switch. Just go to a place where you can really maintain your core. You don't feel any movement in your spine. Switch again. Good. And then both legs up again. Bend your knees and take a little baby, what's this called? Happy baby. There we go. Thank you. Oh, I like to rock a little bit. Go ahead and release down and transition for Shavasana. Settle into your breath. Settle into your breath. Relax with each exhalation. Just find some tension and let it go. As you continue to relax, I wanted to share a poem from Jody Hills. And it's entitled An Imperfect Life. I wish for you an imperfect life and all the wonder that living can bring, the wealth that comes from knowing loss, the tears that find their way to laughter, the joy that grows after the rain, and the love felt deepest by those who have been carved by pain. I hope that you can value this imperfection, hold on to it, so it gives you such comfort that you will dare embrace the beauty of all the imperfect lives that surround you. And then you will be perfectly free to step to the beat of your own imperfect heart, and you will have truly lived. Noticing the breath. Slowly begin to become aware of your surroundings again by moving a little bit wherever it feels like you want to. And just take your time slowly coming on up to seated. Please bring hands to heart center. Namaste. Thanks, guys, for practicing. Hopefully, I warmed you up a little bit.